Good afternoon and welcome to the second webinar for new students that have registered to the IMBRSea Master Program. So first of all, I would like to welcome you to our Master Program, IMBRSea. So it's the first time, I think, after you have registered to our program that we meet, virtually at least. Yeah, it's nice to introduce a bit who we are, what we are currently doing. And also with this webinar, we want to actually update you on a whole set of recent developments also in the master program, which are quite important also for you. So how do these webinars work? So on the right-hand side, you will see a chat box through which you can actually post questions. So that's the first part. And then in addition, so these questions, you can post them during or after the webinar, and then once we've gone through a small presentation, you will also be able, I will try at least to answer these questions as well. This morning we had a first webinar, and what we're going to present to this afternoon is exactly the same content, so you can actually watch also the one from this morning because it's still online, but of course the questions are live answered and live given. There's some small additions and adaptations also in the current version that we show. So let me start by a first presentation where I will go through a number of topics that might be of importance for you. Yeah. So the content of this webinar, first a welcome, then I would like to give you a state of art of the students that are currently registered to the IMBRSea edition 2020. Then we will say something on the mobility that you have in the program, something on IMBRSea semester 1 options, and then also some quite important practical next steps. Okay, first of all, who is who? So I'm Tim de Pre, I'm the coordinator of this master program, and together with Louisa and Micheline, we actually organize the coordination office. So you can reach us through the info@imbrsea.eu email address, and then you will get a response from mostly Louisa or Micheline. Now, if you have a question, feel free to post these questions, and in many cases we also have to get back to the local universities actually to see what potential answers to these questions are. So sometimes there is delay on the answers. Now, if you want to find out who is the coordinator and the contact person at each university, because each university also has its individual contact person, you can go to the website, and if you click on IMBRSea, you will have a drop down of all the partner universities. And there you will be able to select actually the university where you're searching for the information. And you have always the contact details of the local coordinator. You have both his name and the email address on which you can contact this person. Now, I must say, in the current state of the program, sometimes it's better to first contact the coordination office, because right now we're still in the preparatory phase of the program for next year, because we still even have applications that are running. So and a teacher might not always be, or a coordinator might not always be aware that you are one of the students that are coming next year to the university. So the partnership, just to quickly go over it, these are the universities. So the messages that we give today are also the messages that we would like to give as a consortium of universities. I think that's really important to keep that in mind, that Ghent is coordinating, but we're expressing the voice, of course, of the full consortium. Now, who are you? So who is the new group of students that is going to start next year? So this morning we had 66 students that had paid and confirmed. So by this afternoon there are 68. So 2 more people have actually paid and confirmed their participation in the program next year. You have also to keep in mind that the last round of applications is closing on the end of May. So we actually expect still quite some European students that will still join the group of students you're in. Yeah. If you look at nationalities, 25 nationalities we have now, of which 20 are actually not from the EU. Gender balance looks very good, I must say. in the sense that European regulations often say that there should be enough females that register to these scientific programs. So in this sense, I think we are scoring quite well. The main countries, and you see it in the table, I think, there's Spain, Belgium, Italy, France, Germany, United States, and India. These are the countries that, for the moment, where most of the students are actually coming from. Yeah, good. A few important updates, I think, related to the current COVID-19 situation in our master program. So, and I would like there to start with a big announcement related to the organization of the first semester. So, in a normal situation, it would have been the case that you could select from the 6 universities that are actually offering the first semester. Now, in order to be able to also provide answers and to provide a good solution to the students that are not always able to attend, or probably not able to attend the normal semesters, for example, we actually decided last week also to install a separate IMBRSea Online first semester. Yeah, and that will be an option which is next to the 6 other options. So it's not replacing the other options, but it's another option that students can select for, and there we're mainly thinking of students that might have practical problems on getting to Europe in September. So what are we talking about? It's a full online version of all the semester 1 courses in the format of so-called SPOCs. SPOCs are small private online courses, so it's not open MOOCs with massive amounts of students that are registering to it. No, here we're really talking about online courses where the different students that are in our program can participate in the different taught elements. So there is also, we foresee also an additional IMBRSea community space, and the final goal is that the learning outcomes of this online semester, the courses will be exactly the same ones as the one for a regular first semester course. Now, important element in this is, so the things will be organized online, but at the same time, through that additional IMBRSea community space, we actually will foresee some mechanisms where students can actually interact with the students that are enrolled in the physical semesters. So when do we organize this? This will start from September 2020 until December 2020. And then the plan is that after that, students should be able to actually roll into the normal mobilities, and because we hope by that time, that the situation, at least in Europe and also in the world, has stabilized and that travel will become much easier than before. For who is this semester? I think the entry regulation would be all students who cannot attend the regular physical program for formal or personal reasons. So if you have troubles to really get to Europe by the start of the academic year at a certain university, I think then this online alternative, although not the same experience as a local normal university program, for example, this should at least give you some options to follow the program. Why do we do this? First of all, many students in the IMBRSea program may be limited to follow the regular classes on site. And this is simply because, and I think this webinar is a good illustration of this as well, because many of our students will be in different time zones spread all over the world. So these different time zones, that creates a lot of difficulties in offering streaming, for example, regular classes. There you will see that you get in a situation that it's really difficult sometimes to follow classes from distance. In addition, also, as it looks now, for many countries, for example, it might be, for example, that Schengen mobility is still not allowed somewhere early September, although we do not have clear outcomes of that. So that's why with the program, actually, that we want to prepare ourselves so that in the end, you have registered to this program, that we want to offer you also a feasible and good, well-organized program to make sure that this can be achieved. IMBRSea is the only program currently that we know of, at least the joint program, that actually is opting also for this high-quality online alternative. And in that sense, I think we're taking in a unique place And I hope that by doing so, we can actually show to you that the consortium takes a number of these things quite serious as well. Yeah. How will we do this? We're setting up a dedicated online space, an online environment for the whole program, through which all these online courses will be organized. Yeah. And we're thinking, we're setting up actually also a task force this summer that will translate the regular courses into online versions. Yeah. And we're talking about a task force of about 30 people. And if we talk about online courses, yeah, they include personal work, presentations, tasks, teamwork, but also recordings of parts of lectures, for example. Flipped classroom principles will be involved as well. So it's the aim is to come up with an engaging set of alternatives that replace the current normal courses, on-site courses as they were taught before. Okay, what about you? If you're an IMBRSea student, so it means also you have access to the student pages. So if you go to the website, yeah, under the section Students Intranet, you will be able to find the student login section. Yeah, if you there log in, you will see that we have posted a new form online where we ask you to give an indication to us whether or not you would still opt for the normal semester, yeah, in the mobility you selected before, or whether you would go to an online semester instead. Yeah. So why do we ask this? It's not a binding decision right now, but it's just for us to know when we develop these online courses. It's just for us to know whether for how many people we should organize this online version of the semester. So that's the reasoning behind it. So by the 20th of May, it would be really nice if you could fill in this form so we can have more or less an indication what we can expect for the next semester. Okay, so what about the non-online semester ones? So there we're actually collecting currently scenarios and clear information on how the normal semesters at each university will look like. So for the Algarve, for Ghent, for etc. Yeah, each of these programs, each of these universities will also present, okay, look, this is how the situation is look like if you come in September to us and there is still problems with certain courses, for example, this would be the scenarios that you may expect. Based on that information, of course, you can also still opt in for taking the online semester, so then you're sure, based on that information, you can make a well-decided decision. Semester 2, there we expect that things should be more normal again, with or without a quarantine period, but that's things we can see in a later stage, I think. And we also think that's because the groups of students we're working with in the different modules will be anyway much smaller than they are now. Yeah. About the professional practice, which is organized later, this could be on the format of a normal version, so normal professional practice. Yeah, but I also want to briefly elaborate on the fact that in the past weeks, we actually developed with the program also a remote team-based version of this professional practice. Yeah, which means that this version allows for students, if they're physically not able to travel to a certain location, to even still, with distance tools, to still do a valid remote professional practice. And I must say that the feedbacks we hear from many of the students are quite positive so far on this experience. Yeah. Now, just to summarize, so this is what your next year will look like. So you will be able to follow the first semester at one of the universities or take the online alternative. And for semester 2, things should be normal as they were also announced on our website. So you start with a thematic module of 18 ECTS, and then afterwards you do actually a professional practice, and we close the academic year with an annual symposium. I won't go in detail to the second semester modules, but that's the list you can also find on the website and for which you have been already selected, and that's the mobilities that we're still planning to organize. Yeah. For the second year starts with the summer school that goes on in Untitled in Göteborg in Sweden, where we actually organize them in a beautiful marine station. They're followed by, again, a thematic module And during that semester, there's another online course that we created a few years ago, that focuses on data management, communication, and project management in close relation also to your thesis research. With that course, actually, it's good that I just briefly mentioned it, because that course is already developed online with a lot of these interactive tools already embedded in it. And it shows that we have at least some experience in what we're proposing for our online alternative for the first semester as well. Then the last semester, you will do a personal thesis research project, and we close the semester with an annual symposium where you present your thesis work. These are again the modules for the third semester, and we're quite unique in our master program, I must say, in the sense that these specializations, as you see them here, actually are built based upon a needs analysis we do on a regular basis, and based upon actually the needs from the labor market that are existing. And just the first one, just to say a few words on this one, for example, is that we are the only program in the whole of Europe, and I think even globally, that has a master program which focuses on these aspects. So you get both the science background, but at the same time, you get also the possibility to specialize on education, for example, and communication, where more and more we see at different companies and associations that there is specific openings for jobs for these kind of people. Now, some practicalities. You have received this week an email on the email address that you used also for your application, and that email is actually the activation email for your Google accounts. So with IMBRSea, we have a G Suite, an educational G Suite subscription as well, which allows us to use a whole set of Google tools. And in that sense, you all will have received now also first an email address which consists of your first name, last name at imbrsea.eu, and that email address will be the email address with which we will communicate for the coming years. Why do you say years? Because we will keep that email address also activated after you graduate to the program. So that allows us also to stay in touch with you. And even with that email address later on, you will, for example, keep on having access to a number of learning resources that you had during your master program. Connected to that account, there's a drive where you can store files, but you can also organize online meetings, for example. There's a calendar, so a whole set of extra tools that are quite useful during the program. When you're registered at different universities, then what you will receive is also from each university, you will also receive an individual account there and an email address, but these accounts mostly are only valid for the period you stay at that university. And that's why this kind of overarching IMBRSea email address is a kind of a nice add-on, and you can easily link then the individual institutional accounts to that address once you're in the program. Now, how do you contact us? We have an email address, as I mentioned already. We have a phone number, which is still active. And then we have an address. If you want to send documents to us, I think it's better to wait a little bit, because tomorrow we have a meeting at our rectorate, where we will actually discuss the procedures on what to do with sending documents and where they should be sent to. So in that sense, we will give you also on Thursday updates on where and how to contact us further on for let's say formalities that are potentially popping up. So that's I think it's better to focus now on questions. Because the coming weeks, what we want to do is also organize more of these webinars to update you on potentially new developments in our master program, and also to inform you about activities that are going on in the master program. You have now the opportunity to ask questions via the chat box if you wish, so you just write your question. I will read out the question loud, and then I will try to give a good answer. At least I try to give a good answer to the question. Note that we plan also a number of events the coming weeks. So And I just want to point out the annual symposium that was normally planned the first week of July. Yeah, so that annual symposium, we're going to replace it by an online event where students will present their thesis work, for example, but also professional practice students will present what they have done in the past months. So, and we will also invite you to actually participate in these events, because it's a nice way actually to learn the current cohort of students, and also to get a bit of a feeling on what is possible in terms of thesis work and professional practice. Yeah. Good. Let's see if any questions come in. Yeah, there's a question of Jennifer. Are most of the universities to be able to start as usual in September this year? Like I mentioned before in the webinar, I think it's what we're collecting now is actually the scenarios for the different universities. Yeah. So we asked them to give clear information about what to expect for the next semester, for example. And it's good to keep in mind that a number of these decisions are also not in the hands of the universities, because the universities have to follow also the national regulations related to mobilities, for example. But at least we asked them to actually to come up with clear scenarios. And we hope to have these next week at the latest. So we can update you on the different options, and on the basis of that we will also look whether, for example, traveling is possible for you or not, and whether there might be alternative scenarios that we have to think of. Yeah. Do you have the day of starting in the different universities? I think that's a question from Claudia. This really relates also to the different scenarios. It might be that some universities start 1 or 2 weeks later. Yeah. But that is also, we will communicate to you something. We will communicate to you in the coming, I would say at maximum 10 days, just to make sure that things are quite clear there. Yeah. A question from Ryan Davies. We will be able to do some of the field courses, scientific diving courses, in the second semester if we have to do our first semester online. Honestly, you're the first one asking this question, and I think it's a valid question, of course. And what we have to do there is really looking, okay, what is an alternative there, depending on your mobility as well, for example, depending on where you, for example, do your professional practice. There is potentially alternatives that can come up, that can be designed for that. Yeah. So there's no clear answer yet on this, but it's good that you pose these questions so we can actually take them on board and see whether we can develop a clear answer for you on this one. Yeah. Hello, I wanted to ask if I could also save our spot for next year. A question from Marta. We received that question from several students already. The answer to it is yes. Yeah. However, what we will do then is we will ask you next year to reconfirm your application. And also, it does not mean that from a mobility point of view, for example, we will have to start again from a kind of a zero list. Yeah. Of course, you will then apply in the first round, and the chances are high that you will get your priority. But I just want to mention this as well. Also, keep in mind that we don't have a view on how next year will look like. I hope things will be much more back to normal than what they are now. But I just want to put that also clearly forward. Yeah. A question from Ines. Hi, thank you for the information. A Brazilian person wants to ask, if she starts online, can she arrive physically to the university in the middle of the semester? Yeah, we got a similar question this morning. And I think, so in the next week, we actually start the design of the timeline on how we plan to organize these courses online as well. And then I think it will really depend on the timeline, yeah. And so we're gathering now the information, detailed information on how at individual universities things are organized. And then I think it will depend on how these things matches. For example, if you would arrive to Ghent and the GIS course, which is planned there quite late, and you did not start the GIS course online yet, I think then that this could be a solution. But I must say that these are things we have to look into. This morning I also said that for the moment I would think, take the scenario if you start the online course, that you will be in the online course for the whole semester. I think that's the basic scenario to start from. However, if there might be solutions in between later on, I think this is something that we have then to look into and to see where we end up. Another question from Ines Pereira. What are your thoughts about the English certificate deadlines? Since I was supposed to take exams around this time, and everything has been delayed. So tomorrow I have a meeting with the registration office in Ghent University, and we already sent them and we had already several meetings with different people in the administration, and I think there will be no problem on having delays on these documents. Delays do not mean that you will not have to provide them. Same for diplomas, for example, because we know that some people also are postponed in delivering of the diploma. Even there, delays will not be a problem. Even I think in the first phase it will be possible to just send electronic version of the documents, but in a later stage, you will have to account also for it that we will need these documents because it's a legal requirement in order to be able to register you fully to the courses. So delayed does not mean that you will not need them. I think a general comment that I want to make is also that, of course, in these situations, where traveling is difficult, where getting to documents is really difficult. Our program is a program where we try to take care of the students as well, and we will try our utmost best to make sure that the solutions we provide are also that solutions. Sorry, I was reading the question also. That the solutions actually meet the problems you're facing now in order to start up your studies, but as a program, we want to reassure that you really can participate in the program and that we foresee a number of alternative solutions just to make sure that things can be taken within the normal time frame. There's a question from Ines. From what I understood, it might be possible to change the destination of the third semester. When will that be possible? In the former edition of the program, indeed, this was possible, to change the destination of the third semester. What we will do in this current situation is I think we have to wait until we have a clear final view of how many students there are, and how the distribution of the students over the different semesters is looking like. And in that context, it's important to understand that you will in end of May, beginning of June, we will have a final idea, and that maybe during the first academic year we can then evaluate if there's possibilities and if there's interest from students to potentially swap places. I think that's an element that could be taken into account. Are all partner universities included in the Erasmus Mundus mobility grant? And I'm a bit puzzled on that one. Because for the next coming year there is no Erasmus Mundus funding. However, if you do, once you are in the program, it's indeed true that you can apply for Erasmus mobility funding between the partners, and indeed we have bilateral agreements between all of the partners. So in practice, it means you can, once you register to your first semester university, apply for a normal, regular Erasmus grant in order to then go for for example, the third semester to another university. But there is no Erasmus Mundus funding for the coming cohort. Next question is from Jennifer. Thanks for the feedback. When is the next payment due for this year? We're still in a phase, Jennifer, that we're still finishing the applications for the first round, so the last students will be in, and normally we expect the second payment. Yeah, we will send out these things somewhere end of July. Yeah, so during the month of August you can actually complete. So before you start the academic year, the aim is that the payment of the fees, of course, is complete, so we can properly register you also at each individual university. Then another question from Karina. If I confirm my place online and everything goes well until classes start, do I need to stay online just because I selected it previously, or could I go to the university in person? I think, Karina, if all can go normal in September, then I would indeed prefer that everything can go normal. Yeah. Of course, then in that case, I would say that yes, you can go to the university in person. Yeah, but a mixed solution will be, as I mentioned before, there was a question before on that as well, is a mixed solution which will be quite hard to set up. For example, that you take parts of the classes online and then others physically. Yeah. So, but I think I would go for the fact that you can stick to your spot that you have currently available at the university. So also our mobility paths are also based on actually the selections that were made before on that. I think one of the critical elements, and that's why we want to organize these webinars, is that you also feel that we are depending on a lot of decisions from partner universities as well that we simply don't know yet. Yeah, and it's what we just want to do as a program is to inform you as good as we can about certain evolutions. And you will also see, for example, on the YouTube channel, you will find lots of webinars from the past weeks where we try to update our students on recent decisions, so they are well informed and they can make a choice based on the information they receive. So we're planning, I would say, in about 2-3 weeks, once we have completed the full applications for the next year, it might be wise to have a second webinar where we can then speak for the whole cohort of students, the final cohort of students, and see how certain things would potentially have changed based also on the information we received from each university. Yeah. Next question from Hannah. To clarify, would we be able to defer to the start of the program next year if we already sent in our first tuition payment? What would happen to that payment if we choose to start next year? Then the payment, that's a very easy answer. Yes, it's possible to defer to next year, and then the payment just stays within our accounts. Yeah, and for next year, it would mean that you do not have to pay anymore the first €1,000. So that's I hope that clarifies in a way. Of course, we hope by developing our online trajectory as well that still a nice group of students will take on the first semester next year. Yeah. Let's see if there's any more questions. Yes, another question coming in from Ryan Davis. Algarve University said they might delay the semester to the start in October if we do online classes starting September. Can we drop the online course and go to the normal classes in October? Here I think I can just refer to what I said earlier. You indeed received already an information that said that Algarve University might delay. We will make sure, and we're in close collaboration and close contact with each of the universities, that things are well in line. Yeah, but by that time, for example, you will also know exactly what your situation is, whether you will be able to travel and to be physically present. So I think somewhere early September at the latest, we will need some kind of a final decision by everyone on taking the online version rather than the physical version. So I don't expect situations where it's only in the end of September that you will know whether you can travel, for example, and that you switch then to the normal classes in October. So I would see this more as quite an exceptional situation, and I think normally by early September everybody should know at least what they opt for and where they actually want to go to. Let's see if there's more questions coming in. Yes, question from Ines. For the proof of confirmation of the first payment that we need to upload is a screenshot of the email that confirms the received payment. Is that enough? I would say yes. You can also take a screen capture from your bank status, for example, where there's a payment. So all that kind of elements, that's also not a problem. So just an easy proof should be sufficient. Yeah. Question from Michiel de Boek. When does the second semester end and professional practice starts? Yeah. Second semester, the classes in the module normally end by the Easter period. Yeah. And normally then after the Easter break, depending in which country you are, this differs a little bit. Yeah, you will start your professional practice. So professional practice goes on often the months May, so April, May, June. So that period there is about 8 weeks, and you have to think of a professional practice that takes about 6 weeks at least. That's what you have to take into account. Yeah. But the actual exact start and end dates, for example, depend again on your mobilities, and I'm sure also this will be updated if you will log in with your IMBRSea details to the calendar. We have also a general calendar for our program where we update as soon as we receive the information from the different partner universities, where we update also these key dates. Yeah. Okay, I missed the first half of the webinar. I was wondering what happens with the 1,000 payment if classes do start online and deciding to not participate. Is it possible to get a refund? Yeah. Well, if the classes start online, still you're registered to the program. Yeah. And I think don't underestimate. We're actually setting up a team of 30 people that is preparing all this these materials, for example, over the summer. Yeah. So there, it's not that this will be for free. So that's the first element. The payment, the first 1,000 euro payment, yeah, there we actually have to look on the reasons why you are not participating. But the consortium last week, when we had a consortium meeting, there the decision was taken not to pay people back right now already, yeah, but to wait until the academic year has started, yeah, because we want to avoid that we start paying back people and that in 2 months' time then they decide to actually come back to the program. So refunds might be possible if it's based on certain reasonable reasons, I would say, related to the COVID-19 situation. But if the refunds will be paid, then it will only be done later this year, so not right now. Yeah. Ines, last question, but it was not the last question because another one came up, but probably your last question. If the start of the first semester is delayed, will the second one will be delayed as well? Yeah. I think on these things, I'm waiting for the scenarios from the different universities, clear guidelines from the different universities. For example, all universities in France have meetings the end of the week about this, and as soon as we have full confirmations on that, we will also update our academic calendar and inform you. So I'm sure by somewhere early June, we will be able to give you full details on start and end dates at the different universities, and that you can base your schedules, your personal schedules, also on that information. Yeah. And then a question from Ellie Bredel: up to what date can we decide to potentially defer a year, as have really struggled with online classes with my uni this semester? Yeah. I understand that. Until what date? Let me first start by answering the question. Yeah, that actually we did not decide that yet, and I think on a next board meeting we actually have to discuss this. In addition to that, we will need a certain date because we need to organize ourselves also if physical classes can take place. For example, it would be a pity yeah, that the number of people that there are there, for example, yeah, that this does not match with what is there. Yeah, no, the point is, I struggle with online classes with my uni this semester. In many universities, the case was like that there was just streaming of normal lectures, yeah, and that teachers took things as normal with some additional exercises. Here, what we want to do with our online first semester is just make sure that it's something different than just streaming of lectures, so that it's a combination of different tasks with teamwork as well, with a strong focus on teamwork, where you teamwork via virtual environments. So, yeah, what could be good, I think, is there to wait until we have some more insights, let's say, in how some of the classes will look like, and then based on that information, you could potentially take a decision then. Yeah. Ines, you're a very good watcher of this information, of this session. I choose 3.3.4, Blue Economy and Sustainable Use of Marine Resources for the third semester, but it doesn't appear on your list of specialization tracks. Yeah. The screen capture I took for this, yeah, might not be the exact one as it is on the website. So the information on the website, the information where you selected for, is the right one. Yeah. This morning also a colleague of mine pointed that out. Yeah, and I said, yeah, probably no one will see it, but yeah, you saw it. So the information on the website and the information on your selection is the correct one. Just to confirm that. Yeah. Okay, I don't see many questions kind of coming in, at least not at the speed as they were coming in the beginning. So I think for this webinar, I hope that it was informative for you. I hope that with this first edition, we kind of showed you also as a consortium that we're doing our best to come up with solutions and alternatives as well, to make sure that you can start the IMBRSea program, that you can be really part of this this program. Is there also talk about starting the semester later than planned? It's another question that just come in. Yeah, I mentioned this already before. Yeah, maybe it's good that you watch again the webinar afterwards. But so the point is that we're collecting the scenarios from the different universities. Yeah. And based on that, there might be some shifts in the dates, for example, than the original dates as they are now. But we're not talking about shifts of a month. We're talking about the shift that 1 or max 2 weeks later than the original start of the semesters. So, and within the next coming 10 days, actually, we hope to have that information there. We actually planned this webinar already, and I think it's good to know that. So as I mentioned also in the webinar, we still have an open call and still students are applying to the master program. European students can register until the end of May. But we just want to have this webinar now already, yeah, just to kind of at least inform you about how things can potentially be organized in the next coming months. So at least you have already an idea, and also to confirm that we already consider you as students in our program. Yeah. So if there's no more burning questions popping up, then I would like to close this event here. Yeah, will these scenarios be announced on the webinar or on our website? Yeah, they will be on the website. But we will also probably organize in the next webinar we organize, we will also inform you about that. And we're also planning just to send you an email. That's also quite an efficient way of communication. So as soon as we have clarity on all these things, for example, we will inform you through our different communication channels. Yeah. That being said, it might be useful for you as well to subscribe if you did not do yet to, for example, some of the social media channels we use, or also subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that allows you also to keep to stay updated if there's new webinars or new editions coming of some of the program, for example, then you can attend these as well. Yeah. Good. Let me then close the webinar. So thank you for watching. I hope it was useful. Stay safe and stay healthy, I think, and have a nice rest of the day, start of the day or end of the day, depending on where you are, of course, in the world. But yeah, thank you very much, and bye-bye, and hopefully see you in September in person or, if needed, from a distance. Bye-bye.